And now here's the news from Radio Australia, read by Len Grice. The headlines. President Nixon has resigned, and this bulletin is dominated by his dramatic announcements. President Nixon has announced his resignation. In a worldwide broadcast from the Oval Room of the White House, Mr. Nixon said the interests of America must come first. This is what the president said.
Throughout the long and difficult period of Watergate, I have felt it was my duty to persevere, to make every possible effort to complete the term of office to which you elected me. In the past few days, however, it has become evident to me that I no longer have a strong enough political base in the Congress to justify continuing that effort. As long as there was such a base, I felt strongly that it was necessary to see the constitutional process through to its conclusion. But to otherwise would be unfaithful to the spirit of that deliberately difficult process and a dangerously destabilizing precedent for the future. What was the disappearance of that base? I now believe that the constitutional purpose has been served, and there is no longer a need for the process to be prolonged. I would have preferred to carry through to the finish, whatever the personal agony it would have involved. And my family unanimously urged me to do so. But the interest of the nation must always come before any personal consideration. From the discussions I have had with congressional and other leaders, I have concluded to back the very difficult decisions and carry out the duties of this office in the way the interests of the nation require. I have never been a quitter. To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body. But as president, I must put the interests of America first. America needs a full-time president and a full-time Congress, particularly at this time with problems we face at home and abroad. To continue the fight through the months ahead for my personal vindication would almost totally absorb the time and attention of both the President and the Congress in a period when our entire focus should be on the great issues of peace abroad and prosperity without a stake at home. Therefore, I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow. Vice President Ford will be sworn in as president at that hour in this office.
That was President Nixon making the historic announcement of his resignation. Mr. Richard Milhouse Nixon is the first United States president to resign in American history. His resignation announcement came 6 years to the day after he received the Republican nomination for president at the National Convention in Florida on August the 8th, 1968. Born in 1913, Mr. Nixon was a practicing lawyer before he was elected a senator in 1950. 3 years later, he became vice president in the Eisenhower administration. Mr. Nixon lost to the late Mr. John Kennedy for the presidency in 1960, but succeeded the White House in the 1968 election. Mr. Nixon was re-elected president for the second term in 1972. Meanwhile, in Congress, there's been a move to free Mr. Nixon from prosecution. Proposals have been made to grant him immunity on civil and criminal prosecution for alleged offenses surrounding the impeachment issue. One Republican senator, Mr. Dick, said the president's resignation would be enough punishment. However, the Democratic leader, Senator Mansfield, pointed out that Congress had no authority to pass a law granting the president amnesty. The new president, Mr. Ford, has announced that he has asked Dr. Kissinger to remain as Secretary of State. Earlier, the two men had a meeting to review the American foreign policy. In a brief statement, Mr. Ford said the present foreign policy of the United States was in the best interest of the country. Mr. Gerald Rudolph Ford, 61, has had a long, distinguished career in the United States Congress. He was the Republican minority leader in the House of Representatives before he became the first non-elected vice president in American history. His appointment in December last year followed the resignation of Mr. Spiro Agnew over charges of income tax evasion. Mr. Ford, regarded as a conservative, is married with 4 children. Loyalty and dedication were said to be his trademark. Now, from Radio Australia, some other world news.